Please open mind. Discern this in all information. Corey Goode and David Wilcock. Validating the history of the secret space programs. Summary and analysis. Season 5, Episode 17. Posted on sitsshow.blogspot.com. By Justin Dayshaw. In Part 2 of the Dr. Bob Wood sub-series, David Wilcock and Corey Goode continue their discussions of secret space programs. Dr. Wood's expertise deals with authenticating documentation and testimony, especially in relation to a well-regarded insider named William Tompkins. In previous episodes of Cosmic Disclosure, Tompkins provided a wealth of information and documentation to support his involvement in a think tank, or vault, as Dr. Wood refers to it. Dr. Wood not only helped authenticate many of Tompkins' documents but also helped finish the book Selected by Extraterrestrials, the first of several volumes painstakingly detailing the development of space fleets later used in the Solar Warden faction of the secret space program. Disinformation campaigns are actively taking place in an effort to discredit genuine insiders as well as flood the research community with bogus information. According to Dr. Wood, Bill Moore was given documents that he knew were not genuine and decided to share them anyway. Dr. Wood purchased these documents and determined that there wasn't anything that stood out. Skeptics have said that other documents in the possession of Dr. Wood are similarly fabrications, but the researcher contends that the vast majority are authentic, owing to certain features such as printing methods, the ink used, paper quality, and so on. Debunkers of the documents contend that copies can easily be forged, to which Dr. Wood supplied originals in two separate cases. One of these sets of original documents deals with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. According to the 8-page document, the infamous Majestic 12 group, also known as MJ-12, implied that if JFK couldn't be controlled then he would need to be dealt with in order to keep their activities secret. The second set of original documents came into Dr. Wood's possession care of Timothy Cooper, who received the document from Fort Meade in 1994. It was an encyclopedia of UFOs penned by Charles Bowen and stamped with the words "Top Secret." It had handwritten notes from figures within secret programs who were responsible for ensuring that nothing it contained was actually related to extraterrestrials that could put the program at risk, according to Dr. Wood. Dr. Wood was contacted by William Tompkins, who asked him if he would help finish his autobiography Selected by Extraterrestrials. Apparently, Tompkins had been trying to finish the book for nearly 10 years, briefing several writers on his story, but none were able to produce a book. As was discussed in the previous episode in this series, both Tompkins and Dr. Wood worked at Douglas Aircraft during the same time period in the mid-20th century. Once Dr. Wood discovered this in his early conversations with Tompkins, he took an immediate interest and was able to verify through identifying other persons who worked there at the time that Tompkins was telling the truth. After meeting with Tompkins in person at his Oceanside, California home, Dr. Wood realized the magnitude of what Tompkins had to share. Tompkins intended on releasing 6 books in total, to which Dr. Wood said they should focus on finishing the first book and see how that narrative led into other volumes. One of the more scandalous aspects of Tompkins' book deals with methods of blackmailing persons involved in secret projects, under the direction of top executives. They would apparently hold social functions that involved group orgies or rituals of some type that would later be used to keep employees under their control. Dr. Wood states that he is not aware of any authorization on the part of figures within the government or elsewhere to release Tompkins' book. Dr. Wood also says that he was never threatened or told to stop talking about UFOs and secret programs in all the time he has been doing so. Dr. Wood feels that, through mass media and the manipulation of public opinion, his work was probably not a threat to anyone, as most people would never take it seriously. William Tompkins was also part of a briefing program that involved 29 American spies embedded in the German space program. These assets would relay information that would be organized and deciphered by Tompkins, and disseminated in a need-to-know capacity to various secret projects in the U.S. Some of the information was given to contractors working on these programs, or in one example provided by Dr. Wood, Caltech sent people to the China Lake facility where projects were developed. Analysis. The blackmailing of employees at Douglas Aircraft is one example of what some have claimed is a commonly used tactic by the cabal or secret government. This method extends to anyone that can be corrupted through sexual enticement, drugs, or shady financial dealings. A person of interest would be baited or even coerced into some kind of nefarious behavior, which would then be used to keep the asset in line. Politicians, celebrities, and as Dr. Wood states, persons within secret programs were targets. But this is hardly a new policy. According to several researchers of the Catholic Church, confessions of one's earthly sins was part of an intelligence-gathering campaign of the Vatican, that would use information gathered to manipulate anyone needed into compliance with their agenda. This is a tradition that seems to be alive and well today, employed by many different organizations, not just secret space programs. Dr. Wood stated that William Tompkins was apparently not given explicit approval to release the information in his book, but he was not told to stop either. Assuming that the powers behind the cabal are aware of his disclosures, this suggests that they are either incapable of silencing him, are tacitly condoning his revelations, or are not worried about any significant impact. As Dr. Wood suggested, the mainstream media and social engineering have all but sealed the minds of the masses against such types of information. Consider that the growth of science fiction, in both comic books and visual media like movies and television, exploded in earnest during the 1950s just as the official secrecy policy was solidified. The inference can be drawn that the powers responsible for maintaining public ignorance knew keeping this information quiet was not realistic, and whistleblowers were sure to come out as time went on. As a result, they developed a mass mind control campaign through fictional means to normalize topics of interest under the guise of fiction. Psychologically, the mind opens to novelty in almost any form, unless trauma has deadened the curiosity impulse. As a result, all that need be done is to produce fictional stories, imagery, and narratives that are functionally equivalent to what is being developed in secret programs, disseminating them into the public as advances and events take place. When people are exposed to such forms of entertainment, they gain knowledge of an analog that is very close to what occurred, but under the guise of fiction, causing a normalization effect. Even if classified information was released to the public, most people wouldn't pay much attention to it because they were already exposed to an equivalent through science fiction, and either subconsciously ignore the data or consciously dismiss it as a hoax. The normalization technique works well for the vast majority of the population that has lost the ability to think critically, but for the remaining few who dare to consider such information as potentially real, overt disinformation campaigns are employed. In the latter case, decoy, distract and trash methods are employed, wherein false whistleblowers are seeded into various investigatorial organizations and communities to disseminate disinformation, which in some cases is very close to the truth, except for specific details. After gaining popularity and spreading into the community as a genuine data, the information will be discredited, destroying the reputations of those who supported it as valid. There are arguably whole subsets of the ufology and truther movement that have already been heavily infiltrated by such efforts, as discernment and critical thinking skills have almost entirely fallen by the wayside in favor of sensational stories and feel-good narratives. Finally, Dr. Wood suggests that William Tompkins was most likely unaware during his involvement of the full scope of the secret space program, particularly with respect to the nefarious agendas of human trafficking, slavery, and oppression of society in general. If true, this suggests that the program's nefarious nature was also kept largely secret from participants who were probably recruited under false pretenses. Corey Goode, Randy Kramer, Laura Eisenhower, to name a few, were all allegedly recruited under the cover story of preserving the human race or bribed with lucrative careers after their service ended. It stands to reason that maintaining a highly secretive and morally reprehensible enterprise, like what the cabal has done for many years, is far easier when the majority of persons involved believe they are doing something of benefit to humanity, especially if they possess ethical standards. But also consider that society in general, ranging from the mid-1800s to the present, has degraded considerably, in education, moral aptitude, and personal discernment. As an example, critical thinking was abandoned prior to the 20th century in American educational institutions. Society today has largely become narcissistic, egocentric, and predatory as hordes of people profit off the suffering of others and turn a blind eye to pandemic crimes against humanity. This suggests that the cabal also is making efforts to recruit individuals into programs who can be trusted with the darker aspects of the greater agenda. Thanks for listening.